Okay guys, so we're going to review physical and chemical changes and physical and chemical properties. This is standard 1C and 1D. Okay, so take a minute and try to match these descriptions to physical and chemical changes. Okay, and we should know that a change where something new is created is going to be our chemical change. When something is not new is created, when there's nothing new created, it's a physical change. If we're making or breaking bond, that's going to be a chemical change. And if there's no breaks in our or new bonds formed, it's a physical change. Okay, so our big determining factor or identifier to tell if it's a physical change, a chemical change or physical change is if a new substance or is it the same substance. If it's a new substance, it's going to be a chemical change. Same substance, it was a physical change. This is in our song too. So if you remember, it says every change that's chemical, yeah. Can't reverse it easy, oh no. Bonds are broken in the substance. Can't repair the breaks in it. Go. So this whole section is talking about chemical change, and you can't reverse it, and because it's breaking bonds and making something new, a new substance. And then later it talks about physical substance or physical change. Physical change can be shown, and it's easy to atone. You reverse it all alone. Same substance, mind blown. So remember here, it's talking about physical change. It's the same substance. Nothing was changed. You can also reverse it a lot of times. So these can help you remember the difference between those two. Okay, so in order to also tell if there's a chemical change or physical change, we have 5 indicators that can help us. So see if you remember them from our song, because they're all in the song. Okay, so we have a precipitate forms is one of them, gas forming, change in a color, change in odor, and change in temperature. So these are our 5 different things that tell us for sure that a chemical change has happened. So let's review those real fast. So a temperature change is when the temperature is changing. It could be producing heat and getting hot, or it could be getting cold. So you might remember in class we did baking soda and vinegar, and it felt cold after we touched it. Smell, we can produce a new smell or odor, and notice that it is not just having a smell. We can have vinegar and it smells like vinegar, but it's only a change, a chemical change, is if the smell changes to something new or produces a new smell. Same for temperature. We can record the temperature, but it has to be a change in the temperature. As well as color, it needs to change from one color to another. And we did an example of this in class, if you remember, way back when we were studying this, and we had this clear solution that we turned pink, just like this example. We can also have gas that's produced. So it can't just be in the gas state, it needs to produce a gas. Like our baking soda and vinegar is producing carbon dioxide. And this is usually in the form of bubbles that we would see. And our last one is the formation of a precipitate. So this one is probably our new word when we learned this, is that when we have 2 liquids and we mix them together, sometimes a solid is produced, and that is a precipitate. So those are our five different ways that we can know for sure that a chemical change is happening. So this is also in our song again. So it says, see new colors bubbling out. You may even smell a new odor around. Even feel the temperature go up or down. Maybe see a brand new precipitate form. So here we have colors, new colors, bubbling out. That's talking about our bubbles from our gas. Smell a new odor. Temperature go up or down. Brand new precipitate. So it's all 5 right there. Okay, so try to match these different physical and chemical changes. Okay, so this should have been your answers. And you can try again for these new ones. And here are your answers. Okay, so now we're going to move straight into physical and chemical properties. So try to match which one is which. Okay, so here's your answers for that. Notice that this is a chemical or physical property is when we're observing something about the substance, and in that observation, either we're making a new substance in that process or we're just observing it and there's no change happening. That's a physical. Okay, so just a quick refresher, our physical properties, we can observe them usually with our 5 senses without doing anything to them. So notice that things like odor are in a physical property, but a change in odor is a chemical change. So that's because we can smell the odor, we can see the texture, see the color of these things without actually changing the material and doing a chemical change in those. We can also have things like boiling point, melting point, freezing point, density, are all things that we can describe the characteristics of a property. Then for chemical, this is when, in order to observe if this property occurs, we have to actually change the material. So these are going to be things if they're flammable or non-flammable, we have to actually light it on fire, which would change the substance in order to observe that it is flammable or not. Flash point would be another one of these. Also things dissolving, because that's a chemical process because it's breaking apart those bonds. We can also have rust. Anytime you hear something with reacting or if it's corrosive, those are all indicators that a chemical change is occurring, which means it would be a chemical property. Okay, so just a refresher, physical properties, you're not going to have a chemical change to observe it. Chemical properties, you do have a chemical change to observe it. So try to match these different ones for your chemical and physical properties. Okay, and so you can check your answers. The only one here that's chemical is reactivity with oxygen because we're having a reaction happening. Try these again. Okay, and reactivity here again is going to be our only chemical property.